The quality of the week, positive mental attitude, PMA. Positive mental attitude means to be positive in any and all circumstances. It's the person that sees the glass always as being half full and never half empty. The truth is, bad things are going to happen to all of us. Now what? When something bad happens to you, do you respond or do you react? If you respond, that's positive mental attitude. If you react, that's no positive mental attitude. That's without the quality of positive mental attitude. Give you an example. Let's say a baseball player, young baseball player, old baseball player, it doesn't matter, goes up and strikes out, throws his helmet, throws his bat, kicks the dirt, knocks the cooler off, sits down. Respond or react. Baseball player B strikes out, puts his helmet up, puts his bat up, gets a drink of water. Ball game's over. Goes out and takes batting practice for an hour after the game to hit the pitch that he struck out on. Which one's a response and which one's a reaction? You see, positive mental attitude just means that you can do everything better than you could do if you had a negative attitude. It doesn't mean, positive mental attitude doesn't mean you go around smiling all the time or saying, I am so positive and I am so good, this is great, everything is great. It doesn't say that. It says, okay, this isn't great, but now what am I going to do about it? And it comes down to, are you going to respond or are you going to react? Positive mental attitude is the easiest one of all the 36 qualities to determine. Do you respond or do you react? 1994, I got fired at the University of North Texas. Now, I know that in coaching, Bum Phillips said there's two kinds of coaches, those that will be fired, those that are fired, and those that will be fired. And I found that out for the first time in my life. Anyway, it was a difficult situation. It was a tough, for my own ego and for everything else. For my kids, I felt bad for my two kids that they were going to read in the paper that their dad had been fired. I got in my car and I drove really hard to get to Tecumseh, Oklahoma, where my mom was in a nursing home, so I could tell her and she didn't have to read about it in the paper. And it was so interesting to me, just an aside to the story. I said, Mom, I just want to drive up here and tell you that I got fired at North Texas. And she said, Dennis, those people, and they didn't pay the rent on that house that we own. I said, Mom, did you not hear what I said? I said, I got fired. And she said, oh, is that important to you? Can't you get another job? I said, well, yeah. She said, well, let's talk about these people that didn't pay rent. And she took a lot of that off of there. But the day that I got fired, the first phone call I got was a call from a man named Grant Teff, who was the head of the American Football Coaches Association and a friend of mine and a really good football coach. And Coach Teff called me and he said, boy, isn't this great? I said, great. He said, yeah. He said, you're really going to find out what kind of person you are today. He said, when you were winning championships and you were the coach of the year and everything was going well and you stand up and talk about everything and everybody said, well, yeah, he's got it made. He's winning. He's got those athletes and all that. Now, coach, you've been fired. Now what are you going to do? And it made me, stop and think and say, what does a man do? If you have a mental age and you have a high mental age and you're really a man, something bad happens, you're going to respond to it. And he said, that's what you got to do. When somebody calls you and they say, boy, it's a shame you got fired, you got to say, you know what? God's got a great plan for me. I don't know what it is, but God's got a great plan for me. And if the person on that other end of the line is a Christian, they're going to say, yeah, that's what I called about. If they're not, it's going to be dead silence. He said, but you're going to get a chance to be a man. Or you can sit around and whine about it, and you can cry about it, and when you finish the day, you're still going to be fired. No matter what you do, you can't change the fact of being fired. You can change the way you respond to it. Well, I thought about it, and it wasn't long, and I got another call. And the second call was a man named Zig Ziglar, who was a great motivational speaker and a great positive person. He called and he said, boy, I just read about it in the paper. He said, isn't that the best thing in the world? I said, this is getting old now. You tell me why it's such a great thing. He said, because you can go to work for me now. He said, you don't have to coach anymore. He said, we can really do some great things. We can take all those ideas that you and DW had, and we can write a book. And we can make a book in how to teach character to athletes during football. And all these young coaches are going to have this at their disposal. The thing that you didn't have in 1982 when you decided to do it. You can go to work for me tomorrow. We'll meet tonight, you and Mary and me and Jean, and we'll eat at the Olive Garden and we'll discuss everything. And isn't this great? Respond or react. I look back now, and it's been 1994, that's 26 years ago. And I look back now and I think, the very best thing that ever happened to me was getting fired at the University of North Texas. It allowed me to go to work for Zig Ziglar. It allowed me to focus all my effort, all my time on building and writing a character curriculum. It's really what you're hearing today. Had it not been for being fired at the University of North Texas, this would never have happened. I have impacted a whole lot more people because of this character curriculum than I ever would have, no matter what my success would have been at the University of North Texas. So, are you going to respond or are you going to react? Zig used to tell a story about two men stranded on a desert island that was so appropriate for positive mental attitude. And he said that one man gets appendicitis. And if he doesn't get his appendix taken out, he's going to die. And he looks at the guy and he said, I'm going to die if I don't get these appendix taken out. And the other person looks at him, and if he's got a negative attitude, he goes, well, nothing I can do about it. I'm not a doctor, so I guess you're just going to die. Or if he's got a positive mental attitude, he can say, you know what? I've watched a lot of doctor shows on TV. I actually did really well in anatomy when I was in college. So I'm not a doctor, but I think I can get that appendix out and save your life. Now, which one do you think gives the guy the best chance to live? Now, in all honesty and probability, neither attitude could have solved the problem and taken the appendix out. But the guy with the positive mental attitude had a much better chance than the guy with the negative attitude. You're not going to get a lot better because you're a positive mental attitude. You're going to get a lot better if you're a positive mental attitude rather than a negative mental attitude. You fumble a football, how do you respond or react? Well, I noticed the reaction I see so much on TV today, and when I was even coaching, is the minute they fumble the football, they lay on the field and act like they're injured. That's their lame excuse. That's their loser's limp. If I hadn't been hurt, I never would have fumbled that football. I've seen guys respond and they get up and they come to the sideline. They don't yell, they don't scream. They just get a look on their face that you know as a coach, you can give them the ball the rest of the night because they will not fumble. Respond or react. If the teacher chews you out, respond or react. If you react and make a fool of yourself and start fighting with her, you're going to end up in the principal's office in more trouble than you had to begin with. If you say, yes, ma'am, I won't do that again, even if the teacher is wrong. Positive mental attitude is so simple. You just respond to any circumstance, any event that happens in your life. Always respond, never react. Be the best you that you can be. And you can be the best you that you can be by making this a really great day.